104.7 The Cave, Mike
There
the
we go.
Intern,
There's
Jay
always
Stevens
something
in the
wrong.
studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 156. This week was Jay's pick. It is a documentary you can actually watch for free on
For
Tubi.
free, best documentary.
Yeah, he actually came through with two back-to-back documentaries you can watch for free. This week was his documentary about the 20-year history of a tribute band out of Dallas, Texas called Back in Black. The documentary is called My Stupid Tribute Band.
Dude, so stoked on this one.
Jay and I both have done tribute shows for really since we realized that you could actually get more people to come through the doors and get more money if you did that. As opposed to like the all the stuff that we worked so hard to get our music out, no one cared, and then we started covering other people's stuff. What was your first tribute show thing that you did? Where you like realized like, oh my God, this is
when I saw one or when I was in one?
When you were in one.
When I was in one was the Who show in LA.
That was the first one.
Yeah, they were looking for a singer, and I go, "Oh, this is legit," because I knew of the band already.
Yeah, and
I think my first like experience where I went, dude, I need to do this, was I went and saw a Motley Crue tribute opening for Stephen Pearcy, the voice of Rat, and the Motley Crue tribute looked and sounded like Motley Crue, and I was like, "This is amazing." And then the Van Halen tribute, they also did a Van Halen tribute, and I was like, "This is amazing." Big crowds.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Made money.
Yeah, make
and
money.
You're like,
make great
okay.
money. Okay.
Some people
need to find my niche.
I think there is a difference. You got the guys like us that were like, musicians, and we like the music, and we're like, yeah, I'll do that. That should be great. And then you got to get guys that like literally try to encompass like their people. For example, there was a documentary I think we're going to do eventually about a Japanese guitar player named Mr. Jimmy. And for years and years and years, the dude has literally emulated his life after Jimmy Page. Has the same kind of hairstyle, the same kind of guitars he used, tones, all that stuff. And it's literally like this guy lives and breathes Jimmy Page every day. It's not like you and I where we jump on stage, put the wig on, and we do the dance of trying to pretend like we're this person.
Right. No, this dude really is.
Every single day.
There's a documentary about this guy?
It's called Mr. Jimmy. It just came out. So we'll definitely we're going to have to do that one down the road. But the point is, these guys, I think, just like us, kind of saw like, oh, hey, we could do AC/DC. This works, and this guy could actually pull this stuff off vocally, and that's not easy. If you've ever done any kind of tribute group, I mean, AC/DC is deceptively simple because there's a formula to what they do, but then try and go sing Hell's Bells, or for those about to rock, or if you're doing Bond stuff, any of that stuff. I mean, it's insanely hard to sing like that. But this guy did it. Yeah. They did it for 20 years. And before we go to the break, I will say I can't remember the first tribute show I did. My favorites were always the Sabbath ones. We would do the Floyd one, of course. We did Motorhead. Rage Against the Machine was always my favorite.
That's very cool. And I always wanted to do a Rage one.
It's fun.
Rage, I kind of look like that dude. The Bon Jovi ones I used to do were super fun too, just because the songs are so good, But now I think I got the best of both worlds because
you get to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
and I did that.
Just the hits.
I was in a '90s tribute called the mixtapes, the Airwalks,
right?
Right around the time mixtapes started too. We did that for a while, and then it just you find that some things are great when you're making that money, and then sometimes they feel like a job.
Well,
and that's kind of how we felt with that one, and went to do other things. But some people can make it work, and now I do the Grasshopper unit, the Beastie Boys thing, and that's been like 3-4 years, and that was only supposed to be a one-off show.
Well,
and that was it.
What happens? You do a one-off, and then you go, let's do a two-off.
Hey, wait a minute. They want to keep booking.
I know. I got another one in the works that we were supposed to do a two-off. Yeah, and it might end up being more.
Now it's 10 years. We've got plenty more tributes to talk about as we discuss My Stupid Tribute Band. Dark Side of the Stream returns next on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 156, discussing My Stupid Tribute Band. Now that we've talked about our own personal stupid tribute bands, we can talk about the documentary of this Dallas-based AC/DC tribute band called Back in Black. They started in what was it, 2001?
Yeah, 2003. I think it's a 20-year. They spanned.
It was 2001.
Years.
Their 20th was in 01.
That's
21
incredible,
or
man.
something like
yeah,
that.
Incredible.
So they, just like anybody else, were like, hey, we got a guy who can do this, or we got a dude who can sound like this, or whatever. And so they start booking, and
they start doing really shitty.
Yeah,
it takes a while to get off the ground.
Well, and as these things go, you can see it. It's so funny because I thought they did a really good job in this documentary about kind of showing you that, yes, even though these guys are paying tribute to a band and the material's already there, right? You got the material to work from. You still got to deal with all the band issues that you deal with when you're in a band.
You deal with guys not showing up, guys being wasted. You deal with promoters ripping you off. You deal with clubs shutting down. Yeah, you get to see basically it's a crash course because somebody had a video camera and just filmed all of it, which is amazing because you get to see the whole progression of this band and the members come and go.
Yeah, that's another thing I think that worked. And it was, I mean, because at the end of the day, this would have never been a documentary had someone had the wherewithal through the entire 20 years history of the group to be like, hey, we're going to film these guys. Even when they were not very good, they still did it.
And these guys ended up hitting the gold mine with how this turned out, with it culminating with this guy.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But do you think hearing him perform, you think he's a little bit more in line with Brian or Bon? What do you think? What do you think he does better?
Probably Brian, I think Bon you got to be a little bit more crazier. And there was a guy in LA that did a good Bon version of AC/DC. He'd black out a tooth and everything. Like he was scrawny. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
It's funny because I can't remember how long ago. It's when we did Hooters bike night. So it's got to be 12 plus years ago.
Hooters.
There was a band one night that just like played. Never heard of him. Never saw him before, and I've never seen him since. But they had a bass player, man, that came out and they did a Bon Scott era AC/DC song. I don't even remember what it was. It may have been If You Want Blood or something like that. And it starts off and I'm like, oh, AC/DC, huh? Oh, Bon Scott AC/DC, huh? Well, we're going to see how this. And as soon as that dude started singing, I was like, you guys need to do nothing but Bon Scott era AC/DC. I mean, his voice was perfect. It sounded just like him. You get to close your eyes and be like, oh my God, Bon Scott's alive. I have never seen those guys again. I can't even remember the name of the band. And I remember thinking to myself, dude, I got to figure out these either, but who knows? If you're listening, guy, please put an AC/DC tribute out. I don't know who
if you're still alive.
If you remember playing a show at Hooters about 15 years ago,
somebody did call in and go, bro, that was me.
Why didn't you say anything? We broke up right after that.
Yeah, Mike wants to manage you.
Do it again. Anyway, hard work does pay off, especially if you chug along long enough, and that's what we'll talk about next. My stupid tribute band returns, The Dark Side of the Stream. I'm 104.7 The K. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. My stupid tribute band, episode 156 of Dark Side of the Stream this week. So, as Jay mentioned, these guys at the beginning weren't that very good. I mean, you could see it, but they eventually got good. It wasn't that the singer couldn't do a very good job. It's just I don't think they had the right members.
Yeah,
they had the guy who could pull off the vocal stuff.
And a lot of alcohol.
And a lot of, partying and stuff. And again, it like I said last break, it was interesting because you see, problems with bands like this, Motley Crue or whatever, and drugs and booze and women and whatever, infighting, it happens. But you never really think about like a tribute guys. You're just thinking but no, it happens in any band. When you get a group of guys together like that, you might have issues. But after years and years and years and years and years of performing, they started getting like pretty good.
Yeah.
To the point where they're getting booked, not just in Texas, but literally like across the country. Again, it's specifically more southern states. I mean, if you look at like where they are going to play again, it's mainly Texas places, kind of Oklahoma, maybe outside of that, but it's regional.
Yeah, you don't have to go very far and stay real busy,
No, and if they're playing 1, 2, or 3 times a week and they're clocking $1,000 a piece, how many times? Do the math. How many times are you gonna
making 6 figures just being the tribute band?
Play once a week. That's over $50K a year. So, and that's under the table most of the time. So,
a lot of cash money gigs. Yeah.
The great.
I mean, I've heard.
Yeah, he's heard. IRS, if you're listening. So, again, this all culminates a couple of years ago. AC/DC's touring. Brian Johnson's not having a great time on stage. He can't hear anything. A band's playing. The keys are messed up. They end up pulling him, and then they start talking about filling in.
AC/DC needed a singer.
And so it culminates with this dude getting a chance to
getting the call.
And like, hey, there's this
management calls and says, hey, we want you to come audition for AC/DC. And the dude thought it was a joke, like they always do. Sure enough, he gets to try out for AC/DC.
And I thought that was it's a bittersweet moment because he got to meet his heroes. He
would have got the gig if it wasn't for Axl.
And
he was next in line.
And literally, yeah, you got the feeling like they were like, this is the guy. But then obviously Axl Rose steps in and he's like, I'll do it. And you got to go with that guy. And we talked about it when it was happening. We watched videos. It sounded great. Just more specifically, like him doing Touch Too Much with them just sounded amazing.
Yes.
I thought he did a phenomenal job, but it wasn't going to last forever because of course he's got Guns N' Roses. Now I think this year, the only show they have for their 50th anniversary is the Power Trip this month in California, with the idea, from what I've heard, that if this goes well and everything sounds good and Brian feels good, they're going to plot out a tour next year. So hopefully that's what's going to happen.
Hopefully that works out. If not, I mean, I don't think Axl can do it anymore. His voice is shot, I think, now. So maybe this guy will get a call up again,
I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out after the Power Trip. But yeah, if this guy gets the call up, man, what a cool gig. We'll give it our reviews next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. .7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 156. Jay's pick this week, my stupid tribute band. So how many tribute band would you give this stuff?
I'll give it a good 4.
It was good. It was a good feel-good story.
Good. I really look forward to it. It just.
I feel bad for him not getting the gig, but at the end of the day, I mean,
he got to jam with them for hours and hours, man. He said they were so loud. He got to do all these songs with them, and now they're kind of friends with them,
Yeah, they know him, and they're in the back pocket, and you never know.
You never know. Stay ready. Stay ready.
Yeah, they could go back.
I was ready at the Guns N' Roses show. If they were needed, does anybody know the words? I was ready to step up,
jump up there, and start singing. You just be ready. But yeah, it was a really cool story. I'd agree. I'd say about 3.5, 4 on this one. It was again free.
It was free. Watch. Great watch.
You like AC/DC? You like watching guys that really are trying hard?
And if you want to peek into behind the curtain of what goes on having a band, you get to see it all, man.
Yeah, whether it's
original guys band not showing up, what the day of the show, they're not showing up, and
all the issues
guys
are
wasted, passed out. Yep.
It's not just the big guys. It happens right here in our own backyard every single day. Every weekend. So next week is my pick. And we're going to discuss the new documentary series on Netflix called Encounters.
Oh, yes.
4 separate huge UFO encounters. And I cannot wait to discuss these with Jay. I'm almost finished with it already. So good. We're definitely going to be wearing our tinfoil hat next week. You can stream this live on Facebook or YouTube at 9 a.m. Listen to it as a podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app, or stream it online, 1047thecave.com. I play it at 9 a.m. during my show. Jay plays it during his show at 6 p.m. every Thursday.
No
it is Dark Side of the Stream.
Listen.
No, we got it everywhere. Again, I'm Mike the Intern. This is Jay Stevens reminding you, we watch movies.
Documentaries.
So you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.